Okay. Let's see. I think this is working. Okay, and now we're going live over on Facebook. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. It's another edition of Fridays on the Edge. Fridays on the Edge,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, cue
Of
the theme
course,
music.
I'm Laura. This is Nato, and today we're joined by Xavier. Thanks for being here, Xavier.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Xavier is our intern, CEO in training for the Underground Ops MSP, which is Cloud Underground's partner company. And we are here today with Xavier because we've done some really cool, well, he has done some really cool, exciting work in the dojo um, by revamping our belt progression system, essentially. Like martial arts, we've kind of designed the dojo. Of course, we call it a dojo around the premise of martial arts, and part of that is, you progress through as you expand your knowledge and your skills. You get belts, and so that's a system we're bringing to the dojo. We had kind of had one with the original dojo when we first started, but it needed some reworking, and so thank you, Xavier, for doing that. So that's what we're talking about tonight with FotE. Of course, if you want to join the dojo at any time, it's free. You can join for free, and there's a link in the description of this video. No matter where you're watching, there is a link. So go check out the dojo. So Xavier, I'm gonna pass it over to you. Let you talk a little bit about the dojo and the new belt system
Okay.
that you created.
All right, no problem. Yeah, I guess we'll talk about a little bit about the past of the old belt system. They're created. Well, it was created with something called katas, which is also each belt level for you. And there's a lot of belt levels, right? It was kind of hard for a lot of the members to digest where to start, and where's my progression a year or a year or two down the road from now. So I used to partake in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu myself, and it has way less belts than other martial arts like karate or taekwondo. So not only is it something that I'm familiar with, it also kind of scales it down a little bit to make it a little simpler. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. I want to make sure that you guys can see it on the live. I'll give you a second, Laura.
Right. So let's see. Oh yeah, there we go.
Awesome. All right, so of course, here's the DevSecOps Dojo logo, and this is the rework, okay? So a little bit, as I was mentioning in the intro of this, is to encourage participation in the community. Like I said, the last belt system, there's a lot for people to digest, right? So we broke it down to just a couple of belts to make it a little easier. And also, belt progression means motivation. You see your friend get a higher level than you might want to hop back on there with them and try to get past them. As I mentioned earlier, to simplify the belt rank system or progression. And it's also a great way for us to track members' progress and involvement within the dojo. And we'll get a little further into detail on that as well. And I'm also the CEO in training for the Underground Ops, which we'll unveil more of later in the future, how this kind of ties in together. But this also serves as training for that as well. Give you a little sneak peek. By the time you reach the purple belt level of this, which is 2 to 3 belt levels in, you actually get official Nexus training as well. That's just a little sneak peek, though. All
Yeah,
right, so how
Xavier,
does it
for
work?
some reason your presentation is kind of going to black
Ooh,
screen somewhat
oh,
often.
it's
Yeah,
still
it's
going
still
black screen.
having that issue a little bit.
Okay, we can cut all that out
Yeah,
if
it's
you
not
want
a big
to.
deal. It's also more. I mean, people can obviously listen and get the gist as well. So
Okay, true. Okay, we can cut that part out. Okay, so back to it. So how does it work? As I mentioned, there's a lot less belts now, right? So when you first join the dojo, you'll be something called a grasshopper. You haven't reached any rank yet. In order to reach their first belt, the white belt, you will have to go through the white belt application. It's still free, just like joining the dojo, but it's a test. Are you familiar with containerization? Can you figure it out? And you also provide an introductory video as well, so myself, Laura, and Nato can get to know you a little bit more. Going into the blue belt level, you're gonna have to create something called a blueprint, which is further training on that later. I don't want to get too much into detail to blow the live up, but pretty much you're gonna take your ideas with what Nato teaches you, and build your own blueprint. How can this work? How can I monetize this, et cetera, et cetera. As I mentioned earlier, the purple belt will be the Nexus training, and then I'll save the rest for another time later. I don't want to go too far deep into it, but
Definitely.
the brown and the black belt will be, it's kind of a work in progress at the moment.
Oh, it's kind of working.
Yeah. It's coming up again? Okay.
Yeah, it's coming up again.
Gotcha. I have 4 monitors, so bear with me. All right. So back to the belt. Let's go back to the white belt, right? You have to achieve 4 degrees on each belt to reach the new color. So 1st degree through 4th degree. From white, you get your blue, et cetera, et cetera. Each of these serves as milestones. So one way you can surpass these milestones are completing tasks such as your hashtag DSO Dojo post on LinkedIn. 1, that feeds the AI that Nato has created, and 2, that brings more eyes to your page as well. One great way to move up in the tech field, in my opinion, is the home lab. So showing your home labs and your progress through those are a great way to progress in your career. And there's also other things. Once you get into the dojo, you'll see required readings that Nato has provided and weekly challenges that Laura's provided as well. All right, I already went through this already. So this is the grasshopper level. You finish it by completing your application. And if you guys can see my screen, I can kind of break down what I just explained, right? So there's your 1st degree.
Mm-hmm.
That's 1 post in the white belt page. You keep going. Your 2nd degree, you'll need at least 3 posts, et cetera, et cetera. But I already went over this, so I can just show the illustrations.
It's interesting. It works while it's animating, but if it's not animating, it doesn't.
Right, it goes black. Okay.
It's all good. I also, for anyone who's in the Facebook group, and I'll do this as well, probably after this video on YouTube and LinkedIn. We've created a document that like spells all of this out as well. So I did drop a link to that document, so you can get into that and like follow along as well. So.
Awesome. So as you reach to your 4th degree or your 4th stripe in your white belt, you have to submit a blueprint to the team. That's pretty much your company idea, your ideation. And once that's approved, you'll move on to your blue belt.
Very nice.
And there you go. Access granted to the next blue belt text channel. So we'll do a little overview of each belt level again. The grasshopper's introduction to the dojo. Your white belt is going to be your introductory training and the creation of a blueprint. Your blue belt is going to be over data science methodology training and creating your white paper. Your white paper is pretty much a more advanced and final draft of your blueprint. Your purple belt will be your Nexus training, and you also have to implement some application deployment. Brown belt will actually dive you into the underground ops, which I will potentially be the CEO of. And you'll also need to train on monetization. How can I monetize my ideas, or how can I monetize my company that I've created? Going into your black belt, you'll be at the senior level of the Discord or in the group now, and you'll be able to teach others. Once you've completed all your degrees in your 4th degree black belt, you can offer new training content and services within the dojo in conjunction, of course, with your company and the dojo. And of course, our red belt, or also the coral belt, is our CEO, Nato. So at the bottom, a little red belt to put around his head, though. And that pretty much summarizes it.
Yeah, I think
it's right on the head.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is super cool. I'm really excited for people to kind of dive in and get into the new belt system, because it really it goes with basically the purpose of the dojo and why we're doing this. It's to help people not only build skills, but also to potentially like build like whatever you want. Like if that's a new career, a better job, whatever, or a company. It's like if you follow these steps, you can build the skills, but also build your personal brand so that you can kind of leverage that into achieving your goal, whether it is to start your own company, or to work for somebody new, or to just level up in your current position. So it's like there's a lot of applications, and it's self-paced, so you can do it when you have time, when you want to. And yeah, there's a lot of, especially for the first, the white belt degrees, a lot of it is just doing challenges and like posting, and a big part of that posting and why we encourage people to post is again to just kind of build your personal brand. Uh, so
That's a
It's
really
free.
good point, Laura. Yeah, one, it's free, but even though it's extremely structured now, you kind of have free reign to do whatever you want, which is also awesome. Like you said, it's self-paced. You can create your own company, your own whatever you want out of it, and that's
Sure.
it's probably the coolest and best thing about it, in my opinion.
Get a job, start a company, hack some satellites for hobby, whatever you want. Do
Exactly.
some bug bounties.
And make money in the process.
that's
That's
right.
Most importantly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
monetize your dreams.
Make money for free. Wait, what? Is that what we just did? It's like the opposite of free. It's like you can actually end up with money. Anyways, that's the thing. There you go.
Yeah, well, and that's, part of the reason why we started Cloud Underground and why we started the dojo and like why we do anything is essentially to create more freedom for ourselves and more freedom for our members. Whether that freedom is like you want to work less or you want to work a better job or you want to start your own company, like we are here to help support people in their dreams and goals, whatever they may be, and that's a big part of what we do in the dojo. So thank you, Xavier, for being a part of it. And yeah, it's been a cool community. And Xavier, you've kind of been around since I would say like the inception. You're wearing our original hoodie logo there.
Yeah, I won this in the competition,
gee.
actually.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Also,
It's such
I
a
was a
good
freshman in college, and somehow won a hacking competition. But,
Oh yeah.
that's what the dojo does for you, I guess.
That's right. Yeah, I mean they're practical skills that you need if you want to build a DevSecOps career. Build that muscle memory, learn these things, and then like expand upon it. Build a nexus, build your own dev environment. That's a lot of what our challenges are within the dojo. For people who aren't in the dojo already, I'll say that that's part of the structure of the dojo is we post kind of weekly. I don't want to call them assignments, but kind of just like challenges, where it's like go and learn something by building something, or learn something by watching some content that we've created, or like everything that we do is like building you up to progress in your career and in your skills. So
And it's all tied to LinkedIn. So when you join the DevSecOps Dojo, just as everyone's saying, just as Xavier mentioned, I did make an AI, and just for joining, it automatically grants you a LinkedIn boost where it gives you traffic that's like the equivalent, which grows by the day. But I think as of the last time I looked at it, like last week, it's like the equivalent of paying like an $8 boost on your posts. So it just boosts your organics, and then it also brings targeted traffic to your profile based on the types of things you're doing. So if you're doing like cloud-related things, you'll start seeing more cloud-related people popping up faster in your LinkedIn. So the hashtags you use and all that good stuff will summon people to your LinkedIn, and the whole point of LinkedIn is to get attention so you can get clients or jobs. Otherwise, there's no point in being on LinkedIn if you're not trying to get attention. So then if you're not trying to get attention, don't go on LinkedIn anyways. Then I don't know why you'd be there. But it's a boost. So it's so far as LinkedIn's concerned, it's guaranteed to be a good thing if that's the goal.
Right, and it also helps with trends as well, right? I remember at one point last year, you mentioned looking at trends from the AI. You said, okay, these people are the most likely, the people you want to connect with. I remember you provided that too. So Augustus does all types of cool things.
It is worldview based, and so for those of you who are nerdy enough, and maybe you don't know a whole lot about AI, but AI is a little odd. It's somewhat machine learning based, but not quite. So there's a difference between AI and machine learning. And when you put it all together, what it'll try to do is it looks at like how you generally express like your worldviews, and it tries to find others who share worldview. It does worldview matching, so that you can find basically like the kinds of people who you'd probably be friends with, or the kinds of people who like you could get in the office with them. Like You'll probably get along with them. You'll probably be like, yeah, like if it's a good idea to you, it probably is a good idea to them too. So it's not just like getting a job, it's also getting jobs with like people you actually like being around. So it makes it easier to get jobs with people you like versus any old job. Because you could do DevSecOps for like 100 different types of companies, sure. But just because you have a job as an engineer, there could be a boss you love, or a boss you hate, or just like a whole team that you're just like on where you just show up for the check. You don't have to worry about that as much. It makes our system's designed to make it easier to find people who generally probably be your friends.
That's great. Yep, every belt level up into the purple level actually relies on you making more than 10 LinkedIn posts. So as you're progressing your technical skills, you're also going to shape the right people you need to be in contact with or being connected with. So that's a beautiful thing. We tied a lot of stuff into the system.
Yeah, it's awesome. Cool. Well, what other thoughts do we have about the dojo, and any other things we want to tell people about what they can do with the dojo? I mean, it's really just a great place for you to be if you are into DevSecOps, if this is a career path you're interested in, if you're already a practitioner and like trying to build your skills, come to the dojo.
Yeah.
It's free.
And there's always new things going on. It is designed to be like a place where you can go to find some real world tools, talk to people, things like that. It's not going to be like your typical like university type of experience. It's not like that. It's like we're all just in there building stuff all the time, and someone's always building something, and there's always some project for something.
Yeah, I guess another thing too is like we for the Underground Nexus, which is our copy paste data center and software factory pipeline that we've built, we actually beta tested that with the group in LinkedIn. So, or I mean, in the DevSecOps Dojo. So that's another advantage, is if you join, you can get kind of early access and early releases of our products and kind of be the first to get your hands dirty. And then we took all of the feedback that we received from people who used the Nexus in the beta release, and we're continually updating it, and it's a much better product now because of the people in the dojo and all the feedback that we received, and the updates that we were able to make because of that. Worked through a lot of bugs, and yeah, so it's another way to help us develop. So we really rely on the dojo as well, because there's so many great minds in there who are capable of understanding what we're doing. That's kind of maybe a weird way to say it, but because really the Nexus is simple. It's so easy that even I, as the CEO of Cloud Underground, was able to build a copy paste data center. So
Laura has built multiple clouds that she works with for different use cases.
Updated.
Public cloud, local cloud. Laura does artifact engineering for Randall's challenges. They're not just like typed into a thing. She builds like she does CI/CD with artifacts. So it's
That's right.
Look at she uses Git Kraken. If anyone's heard of Git Kraken.
Yes, me and my humble English degree here.
That's right. You can work with the Underground Nexus with an English degree and start doing CI/CD with artifacts and not even know what those things are, and she could do it. So if she could do it,
if I can do it, anyone can do it.
So if you're like, oh, I could never be a software engineer, you can actually.
And you probably already are without even realizing it. I think that was the other thing for me, is I was like, oh, I have all of these skills that I do on a regular basis, that are actually like essentially like hacking or software engineering or social engineering. I mean, I worked in marketing for a long time. That marketing is just social engineering, if you didn't already know that.
Pretty much.
So
that's a very good point you guys are making, though, because the most active or even most senior members of the dojo, we all come from very different backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're the English major. Nato's in business. Randall's 20 years plus in application development.
Mm-hmm.
My beta tester, cybersecurity. One's interested in 3D modeling. Jordan, 3D printer. So, so it might seem like a lot when we say DevSecOps, but it's a place for everybody, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think
and
so.
Christopher, who's another one of our DevSecOps members, who built the hip hop sock. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's like there's so many cool things you can do with the Nexus. We won't get into that because that's kind of a different topic, but all of these people who've created all of these amazing like Nexus Kinesis projects that we've been talking about on streams, for the last couple months are all dojo members. So. And also, we do recruit talent from within the dojo. So, like Xavier outlined within the belt system, part of that is we're looking for people who are potentially can be part of our drop squad program for underground ops. So,
Yes, there will be paying projects in the dojo for people who are like, oh, why don't you do things like that? It's like, well, it's just that we haven't completed building all yet.
Right.
Paid
Yeah.
projects are on the way.
Yep, and don't forget, like I mentioned earlier, purple belt is going to be that formal training for it. So don't think you're going to get your white belt and run away. You have to you have to put the work in for the purple.
And one thing to outline is a core for those who are like really trying to figure out like, well, but really, what is the DevSecOps Dojo? It was built for, and like with the idea in mind of like, if you really want to know cloud and DevSecOps, then for us, we were like, we're just going to build an entire cloud from ground up, then monetize the cloud we ourselves built from ground up, monetize it, and that's part of the lesson. So it's like, well, what are things taking so long? It's like, I'm making sure that the dojo members who are doing everything, and Xavier's a big part of heading that off, because even Xavier's, in the dojo to learn, and his building is his learning journey in the dojo. And so for those who are wondering, like, how does it work? It's like, we want you to know all of it so much to the extent of knowing how to build it all the way from scratch, to finding an audience for your product, to then selling that product to your audience, to then just being full-time on your project. We teach 3-year cycles. And so, the things that we teach tend to take 3 years, so that's why it's self-paced. Just keep on building until you get what you want.
Exactly. That's a great way to pretty much, that's a great way to explain it.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, shout out to everyone. Also Jordan was in our YouTube chat. He brought up Jordan, our CTO. Now he's into 3D printing, but his background is in biology. He was a biologist. So
That's right. I forgot about that.
So we
Sorry.
are, we're all
industrial control
we're all super diverse group, and I think that also just goes to prove that like there are so many skill sets that are applicable that you can transfer over to DevSecOps, to cybersecurity, to I think a lot of IT kind of in general skills, especially for those of us who grew up with the internet for the most part and have been using computers our whole lives. I think just that in and of itself can kind of give you more of an advantage than you might realize. So yeah, we've had many members in our community over the years who've come from very not technical backgrounds who have landed very senior roles in with technical companies for first positions. So it definitely can be done, and that's partly why we're here, is to help you figure out how you can translate those skills into a new career, or again to build on your current career. And yeah, so join the dojo if you want to talk to us. That's where we are. You can chat with us there. All 3 of us are there. All of our the rest of the underground ops team are there. The rest of the Cloud Underground team are there. Really, it's one of the best ways, other than like LinkedIn, to get a hold of us. So if you want to chat with us, definitely join the dojo and pick our brains, or just share knowledge and resources. That's another big purpose of the dojo. So
Yeah, you could definitely reach out to me on the chat. I'm CyberX inside the chat. I can walk through the application process and everything else that goes into the belt system. So I look forward to seeing you all there.
Cool. Well, thanks everyone for joining, and I think that kind of sums it up. Nato, do you have any closing thoughts? Nope.
I think we're good.
Okay. Cool.
DevSecOps Dojo, join it. Check it out. Come say hi. Come get a boost on your LinkedIn and get more traffic so you can get a job or some more customers, or both.
Apollo says you should join.
He just learned Shake, so he's all about it.
He's all about shaking.
Also exciting.
Good boy.
Cool.